a Veterans Day breakfast, so the veterans could come for either takeout or they could sit down. And we just wanted to do this to give back to the community. So we have pancakes and sausage and muffins and donuts. And we decorated all these tents. And we make everything ourselves, so it's fresh.
Hi, my name's Caleb, and we've been doing the Veterans Day breakfast at IMS for about 9 years now. Normally we would do it inside in the library, but because of COVID this year, we had to do it outside, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far.
Hi, I'm Peyton Michaels. I'm in 8th grade, and for the student activities for Veterans Day today, they are playing games back in the field, and they are doing things from Veterans Day boot camp with balance beams. They're playing tug of war.
On the marks, get set, go.
Come on, cool. Oh, God. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on, get three back.
And they do a climbing wall and balance beams and a lot of other things.
Right, 1, 2, 3. Left, 1, 2, 3.
They're doing it to bring awareness for what the veterans go through to be in the military.
There you go, lift with your legs. Do not blow up your back. Your thighs are the largest muscle in your body, use them. There you go. Pace yourself so you don't burn out before you get to the end.
Brian getting some screen time? Ain't no way.
Make a hole. I want my tire right here, come on. Nice job. Nice job. Next.
Hi, my name is Athena, and we'd just like to thank all the veterans for your service and for protecting us. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to represent the Bethel Park Chambers, their director, Connie Rule, to welcome you all to this wonderful event. We are so proud that we have so many veterans here who are given so much of their time that we would live in a free society. We want to thank all of the community sponsors. We have them listed on our wall. We want you to help come out, take part in everything for the holidays, to support them. They've contributed so much to this event. Also the municipality for giving us the accommodations, and anyone else that just had a part in this wonderful program. Our speaker today is going to be Senator Devlin Robinson. We're excited to have him attend, and all of the other representatives and senators who will be here in attendance today. Again, thank you all for participating in this event and being a part of our program. Thank you.
On behalf of the Bethel Park Chamber, I'm Connie Rule, the Executive Director, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you here today. This is our 3rd annual Veterans Lunch, and to have such a great turnout is just wonderful. You folks have done so much for our country, and it's because we're free today of your service that you've given to us. And we thank all of you who have attended with us. We want to thank the municipality for giving us these accommodations. want to thank several of our community partners, Roddy Barbecue and Prostitute, for the food. We have several sponsors, and we have a listing up front here of all of our sponsors, and they're also on your program. And also your program was donated by Save Here Today, which is located on Route 88, and they do several types of printing if you're looking for printing. Keep all of our merchants in mind because we're coming up near the holiday season and they've had a rough year like many of us have. So we're asking that you support them and think locally first if you can. It's my pleasure at this point to introduce Rachel Singletary. Rachel is our mistress of ceremony, and she is a veteran of 25 and a half years in the Air Force, and her husband spent 20 years. He's retiring this month, and they now have a local business called Vending in the Burg. So we will begin with the invocation by Miss Diane Ford.
Everyone bow their heads, please. God, we come to you thanking you for this time that we get to spend together and honoring those people who sacrifice so much for our country and for our freedom. We thank you for the love that you've given us and the kindness that you've given us and the protection that you provide for us. We thank you for the food that we're about to receive, and we pray that it sanctifies and nourishes our body. And we thank you for just creating a true United States. Thank you for all things. In your name we pray, amen.
Hello everyone, I'm Rachel. And today we're going to start off with a special demonstration from Chris Hitchens from the Three Treasures Health and Wellness Center. He will take us on a short journey to relax, to get us ready for our meal. Chris?
Thanks, Rachel. Actually, I'm just going to talk a little bit about military veterans through the Mission Act, which was passed in 2019. We were going to do a little Tai Chi demonstration with everyone, but I'm getting hungry and I'm not going to take up the full time allotment, so I'm going to be brief. But through the Mission Act, we are offering right down the street at Three Treasures no-cost Tai Chi and yoga for military veterans. Whether you are getting your benefits through the VA or not, but it's running through the Mission Act and Optum Insurance and the VA. So right now, I'm going to give everyone some information. If you'd like to come down to the studio right on Irishtown Road, Tai Chi classes, yoga classes for military veterans, and if you're here today and you're not a veteran, you're still going to take free classes throughout the month of November. So who here, like me, in their 60s, or your 70s, or your 80s, or your 90s, are feeling it almost every day? You wake up, my knee hurts, my shoulder's killing me, I have high blood pressure, hypertension, and that's what Tai Chi deals with. It's a type of meditation that deals with that internal stress mechanism that helps alleviate that cortisol level in our bodies. So I know it sounds a little bit weird, but it's a Chinese art. It's one of the four branches of Chinese medicine, and you've probably seen it on TV or in movies, people doing Tai Chi in the park. Well, we have a system through Tai Chi Fit we're offering to veterans across the country through the Mission Act. So if you're interested in looking at Tai Chi, please let me know. My information will be given out to you. If you're interested in taking yoga, that'd be fantastic. We'd love to have you at the studio, no cost. But this is even more important. Even if you are thinking, well, maybe, maybe not, you know somebody who might be interested. So I'm going to ask you to please pass that information along for these no-cost sessions. Or you have a group or you have an organization that would be interested in learning more about stress reduction and a healthier lifestyle through this type of meditation. Every 2 months, I go and spend a week with retired Major General T.S. Jones. I believe Senator Robinson is familiar with the program at Semper Fi Odyssey up in Somerset. We spend a week with a few dozen Marines working on stress reduction, PTSD, suicidal tendencies through meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, and a number of team building exercises. So I'm going to give you information, but please contact me. We'd love to have you at the studio. So this is missions going across the country, and we're the only place in the South Hills who's going to be offering these no-cost classes to veterans. So I'd love to see you. Thanks.
Okay, before we start sending people to grab their food, I'd like to announce or recognize Pete Edwards. Where are you at? All right, Pete Edwards, 100 years young. He was elected in November 2020 to serve residents of the 37th State Senatorial District of Pennsylvania. Please welcome Senator Devlin Robinson.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that warm introduction. Can everybody hear me? Yes. No. How about now? As I get closer? Is that better? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll stand over here. So, thank you for the warm introduction. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate everybody coming out, not just to see me, but I appreciate Mission Barbecue for their efforts, providing lunch for all of us, and thank you to all the elected officials at Bethel Park. Thank you to my friend Lawrence for putting this on. And thank you to the Honor Guard as well for coming up and doing what you do and making sure that we continue the tradition of honoring our country and our service. So, a little bit more expanding on my background. I grew up down the road in Brookline, and I went to Central Catholic High School. And, you know, I was a pretty typical city kid. All of my grandparents and that generation had fought in World War II. And my grandfather was on Guadalcanal. And I remember watching him work in the garden. And he was the only guy back then in the 80s that I knew that had a tattoo. And it was a Marine Corps tattoo on his left arm. And I was only about 4 or 5 years old, but I looked at that tattoo and I was like, that's it. I'm gonna get that tattoo. He said, we have to be a Marine to get that tattoo. So it was always in the back of my head that that's what I was gonna do. And whenever I went to high school, again, you know, my parents were just like, well, what are you gonna do? What's your plan? And I always knew that I wanted to be a Marine. I didn't know what else I wanted to do, and I was not gonna get in debt at college. So I said, I'm joining the Marines. And then they were like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's talk about this. So I said, no, I already made up my mind. I'm joining the Marines. Now that year was 2001 when I graduated high school in June. I went down to the recruiter's office and he said, okay, you know, you look like you're in good shape, because I was in a lot better shape than I am now. But he said, you know, when are you ready to go? I said, look, I'm ready to go right now, but I am a lifeguard at the South Park Wave Pool, and I can't leave until the summer's over. And he looks at me and goes, oh, I understand. I get it. So because of that, I got a ship-out date for October 15th. And my wonderful education at Central Catholic allowed me to choose any job that I wanted in the Marine Corps. And I was getting my wisdom teeth looked at and the morning of September 11th. And I was there to watch on TV the planes going into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the field out in Pennsylvania. I called my recruiter that day, and at first I thought it would kind of be, that was our Pearl Harbor. I said, all right, you know, I'm ready to leave tomorrow. He said, no, we're keeping your date. But you do have to choose your MOS, your job. And I said, well, I'm going straight infantry now. So that put me on a path to participate in the invasion of Iraq in 2003. And as I'm sure a lot of you can relate, there was no information. I was home for Christmas leave in 2002, and I I got the phone call from my gunnery sergeant, your leave is cut short, you got to be down at Camp Lejeune. We got ushered up to Norfolk Naval Air Station, boarded the USS Saipan. We knew where we were going, but they wouldn't tell us where we were going. And 5 weeks later, I was on a helicopter and I was getting dropped off in Kuwait, where I spent another about 6 weeks. We finally got our orders whenever we knew that we were invading Iraq. And our orders were that we were going to secure a town in the southern part of Iraq called Al-Nasiriyah. Obviously a place we've never heard of before. And as most Lance Corporals, we always called it the Lance Corporal Hotline. And we were all depressed. We said, oh, we're gonna miss the war. We're gonna miss all the battles. They're using us just to secure an easy town, and that's gonna be our contribution to the invasion, because General Mattis, he had control of the 1st Marine Division. All of Camp Pendleton was there, and we were from Camp Lejeune, and he was going to take those guys from Camp Pendleton up to Baghdad, and they were going to get all the glory, and we were going to get stuck in some podunk town in the middle of the desert. Well, coming upon Nasiriyah is something I think about almost every day. This is a town that the CIA had told us that they had been in communication with the Iraqi army, and they were going to surrender the town. We were going to go in with very little resistance, and they were going to welcome us as liberators. As we come to the town, as soon as the sun began to rise, helicopters and Air Force jets were flying in front of us and blowing up something in the distance. It turned out that Saddam Hussein had found these plans and had sent his entire northern militia, called the Fedayeen, which are their special forces, down to the town, and they began sending hit squads out to make sure that the Iraqi army began to fight. They also lit all the oil wells on fire so that we could not use our air superiority to defend the Marines as they assaulted the city. And there was an apocalyptic vision of just an entire city on fire. And I remember stopping, going forward, and trying to kind of work up the courage as well. But as we kept moving, we passed the artillery, Marine Artillery 110, and they were just shelling the city constantly. And they started cheering us on, so I stood up to cheer them on. And just then, an Amtrak vehicle that had been severely damaged was limping the other direction out of Nasiriyah. I had not even been there yet. And I was able to look down into what ended up being a mass coffin and seeing a bunch of soldiers clutching each other, stopping the bleeding on others, trying to get back to where a hospital would be, and one closing his eyes while another held him in his lap. And I sat there and I thought to myself, man, this isn't what I expected at all. And I sat down and I said, you know, this is the time that I need to start praying, because I'm not going to have any time in a couple minutes. After we get into the town, the Iraqi Fedayeen ended up destroying the front vehicle in the column in the middle of the city. And therefore, everyone, the entire mission then changed. And General Mattis, who ended up graduating to become Secretary Mattis, made a very key decision at the time, where we were all stuck in the middle of the city. He said the entire invasionary force would not go into the city and be drawn in, that they would go around the city and continue the assault, marching to Baghdad. And he essentially said, you all are Marines. you fight your own way out. And that was, although it sounds callous and cold, it was extremely calculated. He did not want to create more chaos. And we fought our own way out. 18 Marines ended up dying that day. 12 Army soldiers passed away as well on that day. And 5 POWs from the Army, one of which was Private First Class Jessica Lynch. So, you know, we got our nose bloodied, and we regrouped. The next morning, the mission changed from securing those 2 bridges on both ends of Nasiriyah to finding our Army POWs. Just about, I believe, 9 days later, we got intelligence to where PFC Jessica Lynch was located. Now, leading up to that, nobody ever talks about what the Marines went through trying to search for her and those other Army comrades. It became an investigation, almost a crime investigation. And we constantly scoured the town looking for clues, finding uniforms. They were eating their meals. We would find letters that they would write home and their family would write to them. And then we'd start finding bloody uniforms, which led us to shallow graves of a lot of those Army soldiers that were missing in action. Digging them up, most of the time with our bare hands, putting them in body bags, getting them back to the United States. In the middle of all this, we were given more intelligence to the whereabouts of the one POW that was in the hospital. And every time we would go to those hospitals, the Iraqi Fedayeen were waiting for us to ambush us. So when the day came where actual good intelligence came, where she was located, we all kind of said, oh, you're crazy. You know, we're not doing this again. And nobody believed them, but you have to take every piece of intelligence and you have to run it up the chain of command. And just about 3, 4 in the morning, we were woken up, driven to one hospital in the middle of the city, and the Marines, who had been searching for her for over a week, we cordoned the hospital off, set up security, and the Navy SEALs went in. I said that was like, you know, the Steelers marching all the way down the field and then putting the rookie running back in to score the touchdown, but the SEALs took all the credit for it. So, that's okay. We were there to rescue the POW, but that was the first successful POW rescue since World War II. So I was very proud to be a part of that. We marched all the way to Baghdad. We lost another 18 Marines on the march there. And I was fortunate enough just a year later to go to Afghanistan, where I was sent to the Pakistani border, worked to get the historic elections of 2004 off the ground. And that's also where I was able to turn 21 years old. Didn't know it that day, but I was already a veteran of both wars the country fought before I was legally allowed to have a beer in the country. So, and then I had the good fortune as well. I was switched from 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines to 1st Battalion, 6th Marines, and I was sent to Fallujah in 2005. Now, at the time, I thought to myself about re-enlisting, but I figured, you know, I think the Marine Corps may have gotten their money's worth out of me, so I'm going to see what else is out there. I came home, had struggled with the transition just like most of my comrades. But I started my business, was able to purchase a house, was able to get used the GI Bill to get my education. Things were going pretty well. And almost at the 4-year mark after we got out, a lot of my friends began succumbing to a lot of the illnesses from their service. A lot of post-traumatic stress or suicides, drug overdoses, car accidents. And I decided it was one of my friends, my very close friend, his name was Diego Gonzalez, extremely close. I found out that he had committed suicide. And that was the moment that I decided I was going to have to reevaluate my definition of what a successful life was. It could no longer be just making sure that I succeeded in my life. I had to help others succeed. So I searched for a lot of veterans charities, and I found Semper Fi Odyssey with Major General T.S. Jones up in the Laurel Highlands. And he really guided me, transformed my life. And I had, like I said, I had totally seen the light, I guess. And I wanted to advocate for him. I wanted to help him any way that I could. Led me to a local politician, and for that local politician's credit, he said, hey, I helped you, can you help me get on the ballot? And that's how I got into politics. So without the foresight to devote a certain portion of my life to others, I would not be standing here today. So I hope that that's the one thing that you all can take with you from this speech. I know it's a little bit longer than I had originally planned, but I was able to be elected to this office, and I wanted to make sure that I gave back to the people that I served with, and the people just like you all here that had served this country. A lot of legislation has been passed to make sure that the veterans of Pennsylvania are honored in the proper way. Just a few of the legislative pieces that I have introduced is, one is increasing the trust fund for the voluntary donations. Whenever you sign up for or renew your driver's license or get a personalized license plate, we increase the trust fund so that those funds can directly go to veterans organizations. You can apply for these funds. An interesting thing, Allegheny County, now there's 67 counties in Pennsylvania. Allegheny County was the only one that was left out of a bill that was passed in the 30s that said that the counties were responsible of decorating all the gravestones in their respective county. Allegheny County was left off of that for some reason. We have fixed that, and now all veterans' gravestones throughout Allegheny County will be decorated on Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and Flag Day. We also have a resolution recognizing Pennsylvania's contribution to Desert Storm and Desert Shield veterans. We have a resolution designated the month of October for Veterans of Afghanistan month. We have the 250th anniversary of the country is coming up very soon. And I have a resolution asking the Secretary of the Navy to designate Pennsylvania as the birthplace and the celebration of the Navy and Marine Corps, which, as you all know, who's my Navy veterans out there? That's right, the Marine Corps veterans. Hoorah. So, as we all know, Philadelphia played a key role in creating the Navy and Marine Corps. The Navy had been created along the Delaware River with John Paul Jones, the Marine Corps, actually right on the Delaware River as well, but in a bar, Ton Tavern. That's right. And that's how I know, you'll always know Marines, you always know a Marine whenever they're lying, because you'll ask, where was the birthplace? And look at you, bewildered. But every Marine will know Where was it?
Yes, yeah.
In a bar.
Tun Tavern.
Tun Tavern, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, November 10th, 1775. That's right, Captain Samuel Nichols. So that's the cult. That's how you know. That's a secret handshake for the Marine Corps cult. But we're looking forward to that. But Pennsylvania has passed that, and the Secretary of the Navy has to sign off on it. So we're really hoping that he will see the light. Another one, though, that's pretty close to my heart is it's called the Purple Star Schools Designation. And this is a program that will help children of deployed service members. That we will designate these schools so that we can provide resources to all of them to make sure that they have the proper resources to continue to succeed while one or more of their parents are deployed. Does anybody have any questions?
What a wonderful story. And I can't thank you enough, Senator Robinson, for coming today. Thank you, Lawrence, for introducing us.